This video is all about the pros and the cons of living here in Wake Forest, North Carolina, so stay tuned. Hi guys, I'm Mike Sanders with Mike Sanders Team Realty at RE/MAX United. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. I shoot lots of videos about what it's like to live here in the Raleigh, Wake County area, so if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and hit that thumbs up button so you can be notified immediately when I have a new video out. This video is going to cover the 5 things you'll probably love about Wake Forest, North Carolina, and the 5 things you might not be crazy about. So let's get started. First thing I really love about Wake Forest, North Carolina is the fact that it's a relatively small town with a population of around 45,000, but with most of the amenities you'll find in a much larger town or city. There are 2 main shopping centers located in town, both of which are nationally known retailers like Target, Walmart, Kohl's, Home Depot. You've also got many of the nationally known restaurants like Chili's, Red Robin, Texas Roadhouse, Olive Garden, Applebee's, along with tons of other really cool locally owned restaurants. As far as recreation, there are over 561 acres of parks, open spaces, natural land and trails, providing tons of recreational opportunities throughout Wake Forest. There are several major parks for biking, walking. There's even a dog park just for the pets. The great thing about Wake Forest is you're actually in a relatively small town, but with the convenience of a much larger city. Plus, you're only a short 11-mile drive into Raleigh, North Carolina, the state capital, which is North Carolina's 2nd largest city. So if you can't find it in Wake Forest, you're not far from where you'll probably find it. Raleigh-Durham Airport is only about a 25-minute drive from town. You're only about 2.5-hour drive from Wake Forest to the ocean, the mountains, depending on where you're going. You're only about a 3 or 4-hour drive right up I-40. Now with Raleigh being so close to Wake Forest, this leads me to the first con of living in Wake Forest, and that's the traffic. I know every major city has its traffic issues, and from what I know about other parts of the country, we really don't have it so bad here. But the traffic is definitely a pain in the butt if you have to do a lot of commuting, especially during work commuting times. If you need to be in Raleigh, other parts of Wake County, Durham, RTP. With that being said, if you've lived here for a while, you'll get to know the shortcuts and the routes to take when things get a little busy. If your job allows you to be more flexible when you drive, there are certainly better times than others to be driving around the area. As far as traffic, probably the busiest thoroughfare you're going to have to deal with in Wake Forest is Capitol Boulevard. That's the main artery between Wake Forest and Raleigh and many other parts of Wake County in the Triangle. But again, compared to most other areas, the traffic here really is a breeze. Okay, if you happen to be sitting in traffic on Capitol Boulevard, trying to get to work, just focus on the second thing I love about Wake Forest, which is the small town feel and charm of the town. Wake Forest is a really pretty town, especially driving up Main Street, going through the historic district with its gorgeous homes built between the 1890s and the 1950s, many of which are in the classic Federal and Greek architectural styles. The campus of Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary is really gorgeous, especially during spring graduation when there's tons of trees, flowers are out, lush greenery is in full bloom. But the flip side to all this lushness and greenery is the second con about Wake Forest and in North Carolina in general, and that's the pollen. Starting around early to mid-March, continuing through April, those are the worst months for pollen. A recent national study ranked the Raleigh metropolitan area as the 31st worst area for allergy sufferers. With this being said, the Raleigh metropolitan Wake Forest area fares better than some other major metro areas of the state when it comes to allergies. So even though the pollen can be bad, it's not really a deal breaker in my personal opinion. The third thing I love about Wake Forest are the great public schools. There are a lot of options when it comes to local schools. There are schools which operate on a traditional calendar from August to June, as well as a year-round option where students attend classes for approximately 45 days. Then they get about a 15 to 16 day break throughout the school year. In addition, there are numerous charter school options available. There's Franklin Academy, Endeavor Charter School, Wake Forest Charter Academy, Heritage High School, one of the public options. It's ranked one of the top high schools in all of Wake County. Wake County has a nationally renowned magnet school program offering early college options for students. Now, the flip side to all these great schools brings me to my third con about Wake Forest, and that's the cost of housing. Compared to some other areas of Wake County, it's somewhat more expensive to purchase a new home in Wake Forest. As of the date of this video, the average list price of a brand new home in Wake Forest is around $484,000. However, Wake Forest new home affordability ranks considerably better than numerous other Wake County municipalities, including Cary, many parts of Raleigh, Apex. Furthermore, compared with many other parts of the country, new homes in Wake Forest are comparatively much less expensive, offering buyers a whole lot more for their money. So even though you might consider housing affordability a con, it's not really much of a con when considering home prices in neighboring municipalities. The fourth thing I really love about Wake Forest is the fact that, as a lover of golf myself, there are quite a few courses available to play year-round, and you don't have to be a member to do so. Within about a 20-mile radius of downtown Wake Forest, there are a total of about 14 or so courses that anybody can play. You've got Heritage Golf Club, Pascal Golf Club, Breville Golf Links, the Crossings, there's Falls Village, and the River Golf and Country Club. Now, as far as Heritage Golf Club and the Crossings and the River, they're all located within home communities with homes available that are priced below the average new home prices I mentioned earlier. If you're more into a private or semi-private golfing experience, then you have even more options at your doorstep, such as Wakefield Plantation Golf Club, the Hazentree Golf Club, and Northridge Country Club. Okay, the fourth con about Wake Forest is the fact that most people who live here, they work somewhere else. Mainly because this is a smaller community with fewer job opportunities than, say, Raleigh, Durham, Research Triangle Park. A commute from Wake Forest to most of the major employers in the Raleigh-Durham Triangle area, it's going to require you to take a good 30, 40-minute commute, as I mentioned earlier. If that commute requires you to drive into Raleigh via Capitol Boulevard, especially during crime rush hour periods, you're going to be in some heavier traffic. But again, depending on where you're relocating from, this might not be a big deal for you, but it's still something to consider. One other option to consider for those whose commute takes them from Wake Forest into Raleigh is the availability of public transportation. The town of Wake Forest currently has a public transit option with Go Raleigh Transit, which operates 5 daily round-trip bus routes between downtown Wake Forest and downtown Raleigh. The fifth pro of living in Wake Forest, and this one's really big, is the fact that it's an extremely safe place in which to live. According to the latest crime data compiled by CoreLogic, your odds of being a victim of a burglary in Wake Forest are about 1.41 in 1,000. Your odds of being a victim of a motor vehicle theft in Wake Forest are about 0.34 in 1,000. According to the data, your odds of being a victim of a violent crime in Wake Forest is about 1 in 831. The national average is 1 in 133. Wake Forest has 3 police stations. There's 1 main station and 2 substations strategically located throughout the town. Very impressive for a town of this size. With this level of crime though, which is really low, comes with higher property taxes, which brings me to my 5th and final con: high average effective property tax rates. If you live within the municipal limits of a town or city within Wake County, you'll be paying both county and municipal taxes. Currently, of all the 13 Wake County municipalities, Wake Forest ranks in the upper third for highest municipal property tax rates. So on a medium home priced around $278,000, you'll be paying around $2,900 per year in property taxes. Although this is somewhat more expensive than most other areas of Wake County, Wake Forest is actually a bargain when you compare to other parts of the country, such as numerous counties throughout New York, California, New Jersey, where property taxes can easily run 400% or more per year. On the positive side, North Carolina income tax rates are slightly less than the national average. A recent study by website Wallet Hub found that North Carolina comes in at number 24 in income tax rates, which of course puts it pretty much in the middle. Although your Wake Forest municipal property tax rates might be slightly higher, the income tax rate may help offset this somewhat. So there you have it. 5 things I love about Wake Forest and 5 things maybe I'm not so crazy about, but that's okay. I'm a local real estate agent. I'm a native of Wake County. If you're thinking about relocating, moving to the Raleigh-Durham area or any of the surrounding municipalities, please give me a call. I know the area really well. I've lived here my entire life again. I'd really love to help you guys find a home here. I really hope you've enjoyed the video and found it very informative. The opinions are mine. You may have different opinions, that's okay. I'd love to hear your pros and cons, if you have any. I make tons of videos around the Raleigh area, the surrounding municipalities. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. I'll let you guys know anytime I have a new video out. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a really great day. Remember, get Mike, get moved.